My wife laughed and said, "You'll never leave me. If you leave, I'll ruin you in court." I said, "Try me." That night, she woke up to divorce papers and an empty closet. I used to think marriage was about love, partnership, and trust. I believed in for better or worse. And maybe I was too naive to see how bad the worse could really get. My name's Evan, 35, from Ohio. I work in IT and have always been more of a quiet, steady type. My wife, Rachel, is different. Loud, magnetic, unpredictable. At first, I loved that about her. She had this energy that made people gravitate toward her. I felt lucky she chose me. But something changed after we got married. The first year was mostly good. Fights here and there, nothing major. But then little things started building up. Controlling behaviors, passive-aggressive digs, and a level of disrespect that gradually chipped away at me. She'd mock my hobbies, undermine me in front of friends, and laugh when I tried to talk seriously about our issues. And every time I brought up counseling, she scoffed. "You're too sensitive, Evan," she'd say, rolling her eyes. "Not everything's a crisis." I kept brushing things off. I thought maybe it was just a rough patch. But over time, her threats got more serious. "If you ever leave me," she said one night, after a particularly nasty argument, "I'll ruin you in court. I'll take everything. You're not even smart enough to protect yourself." She laughed when she said it, like it was a joke, but I knew it wasn't. What she didn't know was that for the past 6 months, I'd been quietly preparing. I started documenting everything: texts, arguments, finances. I opened a separate bank account, redirected my paychecks, and even got a consultation with a divorce attorney. I never thought I'd get to that point, but Rachel made it clear. Staying meant sacrificing my self-respect. The breaking point came one Friday night. We were sitting on the couch, arguing about something stupid. I think it started with me not wanting to go to her coworker's birthday party. She called me boring, weak, and said, "You'll never leave me. You don't have the guts. And if you try, I'll destroy you in court." I stared at her. Calmly, I said, "Try me." She laughed again. "You wouldn't even know where to begin." That was it. She went to bed around midnight. I didn't. Instead, I printed out the divorce paperwork I'd been holding onto for weeks. I signed it, slid it into an envelope, and left it on her vanity. I packed only what I needed: a few bags of clothes, my documents, my laptop, and some essentials I'd already stored in my car. I took nothing of value that could complicate things. At 3 a.m., I walked out. I stayed at a buddy's house across town. The next morning, I turned off my phone and let the silence do the talking. When I finally turned it back on 24 hours later, I had 12 missed calls. All from her. One voicemail stood out. "Evan, what the F*** is this? What the hell do you think you're doing? Call me back now." But I didn't. For once, I was in control. I wasn't running. I was reclaiming my life. The morning after I left, I sat on my friend Nate's back porch, sipping coffee and staring into the woods behind his place. My phone buzzed again. Rachel again. Call after call, voicemail after voicemail. Some angry, some panicked. The tone changed with each message. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded everything to my lawyer, including a copy of the signed divorce papers. He filed them that Monday. I paid extra to have them served immediately. By Tuesday afternoon, Rachel had been officially served. That's when things went from chaotic to nuclear. She texted, "You're seriously doing this? After everything? You're a coward. Then, you better lawyer up, Evan. I'll take you for everything you've got." But that's the thing, she couldn't. I had kept records. Every hostile text, every time she mocked my mental health, screenshots of her calling me a loser and saying, "I own you now." I had even installed a camera in my home office after she once threw a glass at the wall during a fight. I never used it for blackmail, but I needed proof. For myself, for court, whatever came next. What Rachel didn't know was that I had been playing the long game. I wasn't the same naive guy who married her 3 years ago. I had quietly shifted accounts, consulted a financial advisor, and made sure my bases were covered. But she wasn't done. She showed up at my office 2 days later. She didn't come in, thankfully, but she waited in the parking lot. I saw her from the window, pacing, furious. My coworker Jenna texted me, "Your wife's here. You good?" No, I wasn't. But I stayed calm. I walked out the side door, got into my car, and drove straight to my attorney's office. We filed for a temporary restraining order that day. The paperwork moved fast. Apparently, courts don't look kindly on intimidation tactics during divorce proceedings. That night, Rachel sent one last voicemail before I blocked her. "I can't believe you're doing this. You think you're some kind of hero? You're pathetic, Evan. You'll come crawling back." They all do. I didn't respond. I didn't flinch. I just stared at the screen for a second and hit block. She tried calling Nate next, but he didn't answer either. The truth was, no one was on her side anymore. Our mutual friends knew what she was like. Some had seen the fights, The cold way she'd talk to me in public. One even messaged me privately. Man, I'm sorry. We all saw how she treated you. Good for you for getting out. The support shocked me. I always assumed people didn't notice or didn't care. I was wrong. Later that week, I finally moved into a temporary apartment a few miles away. Small place, nothing fancy, but it was mine. Peaceful, quiet, no insults, no threats, just me and the sound of my own breathing. I sat on the floor that first night, surrounded by boxes and uncertainty, and let myself cry. Not because I missed her, but because I finally felt free. The first few weeks after I moved into my new apartment were weird. I wasn't used to the quiet. At first, it felt eerie. But slowly, that silence started to feel like peace. No more walking on eggshells. No more second-guessing what mood Rachel would be in. No more wondering if tonight would end in an argument, or a guilt trip, or just her shutting down and icing me out. I could breathe again. But of course, divorce is never simple, especially when you're dealing with someone who thrives on drama. Rachel fought back hard. She contested the divorce, tried to claim spousal support despite making more money than me, and even accused me of abandonment. Thankfully, my lawyer was solid, and my paper trail helped prove the emotional abuse I had endured. When she realized she wasn't winning in court, she shifted tactics. She started love bombing. At first, she emailed me. I miss you. Can't we talk? We were great once. Then came photos of old trips, notes like, remember this day? You looked so happy. We can fix this, Evan. It almost worked. Not because I missed her, God, no, but because part of me still wrestled with guilt. I don't think people talk enough about how you can be relieved to leave someone and still feel guilty for it, especially when they're suddenly being sweet again, pretending like none of the cruelty ever happened. But that's the thing, it did happen, and I had the scars to prove it. One day I got a text from her sister, Lauren. We'd always been on decent terms. She's spiraling, she wrote, crying nonstop. Keeps saying you'll regret this. I didn't respond. Because no, I wouldn't regret this. The final hearing came 6 months later. Rachel showed up in a fitted black dress, looking polished and confident, but there was panic in her eyes. She saw the way I stood, calm, composed, unshaken, and I think she realized she had finally lost control of me. The judge ruled in my favor on every key point. No alimony. Clean asset split. Restraining order upheld. It was over. Outside the courtroom, Rachel tried one last time. She followed me into the parking lot, voice trembling. You'll be back, she whispered, as if saying it aloud would make it true. They always come back. I didn't even stop walking. No, I said quietly. Not this time. I got in my car, drove away, and didn't look in the rearview mirror. It's been a year now. I've taken up hiking again, something Rachel used to mock as boring. I started therapy, made new friends. I even adopted a dog, something she never let me do because dogs are too much work. Funny thing is, that dog's more loyal, more loving, and more emotionally stable than she ever was. Looking back, I don't hate Rachel. I pity her. I think she's deeply broken, and instead of healing, she chose to break others around her. I just happened to be the one closest to her. But I healed. I rebuilt. And every time I open my closet now and see it full of my things, things I chose, things I love, I remember the night I left. The night I refused to be manipulated, mocked, or held hostage by fear. That night didn't just mark the end of my marriage. It marked the beginning of my life. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.